Thank you very much, everybody. And from the real bottom of my heart, I have to start giving thank you very much to you guys, the media. Without you, we on the exile couldn't do nothing. You have been the bridge that has been allowed our voice to reach different communities. This was a fight that was not only for the Venezuelan community, but for other Latin American countries and for other countries that have been under regimes, and specifically in the case of Venezuela, having almost 27 years of this torture. Today, I'm begging with all my colleagues here on my back for the freedom of all the political prisoners that we have in Venezuela. Hoy estamos aquí para dar las gracias sobre todo a todos ustedes, los representantes de los medios de comunicación social. Han sido nuestros grandes aliados, ha sido el gran puente que nos ha permitido llegar hasta la alegría de los pájaros, lo podemos escuchar el día de hoy. El cielo brillante que Dios ha mandado el día de hoy en esta ciudad. Sin ustedes, sin los medios de comunicación, sin mis colegas, mis compañeros, que en todo momento que hemos necesitado de ustedes han dicho que han estado allí por la causa de Venezuela. Este grupo de luchadores que están a mis espaldas, jamás el exilio venezolano en Central Florida podrá agradecer todas las luchas que la mayoría de todos ellos han llevado adelante. Nosotros tenemos infinidad de talentos, infinidad de luchadores que han estado aquí acompañándonos en esta lucha. Today we also have to see some other option. What's going to happen tonight in Venezuela? What's going to happen day after tomorrow in Venezuela? We hope that we have another bright wake up tomorrow morning. And so consecutive in the future, every single morning will be bright for the Venezuelan people. People that is right now suffering and feeling today some uncertain futures. But here is an exile ready to go to help. And we had to be grateful of the United States, because not only with this Trump administration, including the Biden administration, help and put the seed in some of the results that we are looking today. We do not have to see this as a partisan reaction. We need to see this as an entire and whole political situation that gave freedom back to Venezuela. To the people that are within the country, we wish all the best, but please be careful to be on the roads right now. Why? Because the remain of this regime are going to create troubles to themselves, the American forces and the American administration and the opposition leaders have been creating this. And no way, those are armed pandillas that they have there called colectivos that are going to create problems within the country, them to blame somebody else. So I just want to pass over to my other big hand on all this for so many years. She's Fabiola Gomez, the president of the Fundación Casa de Venezuela. And we're going to hear some other ones.
Can I have you say and spell your first and last name really quickly?
William J. Diaz, I'm the founder of Casa de Venezuela of Orlando 23 years ago, and also the founder of the network of Casas de Venezuela in the whole country 9 years ago. Fabiola Gomez.
Well, it's a very important day for our community here and in Venezuela, of course. It's a very special day, filled with different emotions. We are happy but concerned. We are hopeful but facing uncertainty. Again, like William said, this is not only about Maduro and the regime going down, it's about also how many prisoners are still in Venezuelans' jails being tortured. This is also about the future in the next days and months to come. And this is about being united in and out of Venezuela, because 9 million of Venezuela have left the country. And it's not because they went on vacation, it's because the situation inside the country was unbearable. As I was saying earlier to another of your colleagues, I know that for some American people it's difficult to understand what's happening in Venezuela, and it's difficult to understand the action of that took place today. But we have been under a brutal regime for many, many years, and the community inside, the Venezuelan people have done everything in their power for many years. And today we are facing, again, hope and uncertainty. And thank you again for your support, because without media, we can, our voice doesn't get heard the way it should. So thank you very much for being here. I introduce you now Samuel Vilches, who has been a leader in the Venezuelan community. Yeah, my name, yes, Fabiola, Fabiola Gomez, Gomez.
My name is Samuel Vilches Santiago, Samuel, Vilchez, Santiago. I'm a leader in the Venezuelan community. In a lot of ways, here in the United States, we have seen a lot of polarization happen over the last few years. That is the same level of polarization we saw happen in Venezuela 20-some years ago. And I want to reemphasize what William has said, which is we don't want this to become a partisan issue. The reality is that whether you agree with President Trump's actions or not, there's a larger reality at play. And that is that Nicolás Maduro and his henchmen are some of the worst the world has ever seen. And they deserve the very worst. And the reason they deserve the very worst is because his regime is responsible for separating 9 million families. His regime is responsible for over 16,000 people being imprisoned just simply because they think differently than the government. His regime is responsible for over 500 protesters being killed without seeing a day in court. His regime is responsible for the forced disappearances of Venezuelans. His regime is responsible for the destruction of an entire country and an entire society. And so he deserves the very worst. And no one here will shed a tear for Nicolás Maduro. Lo voy a decir en español también. Obviamente vivimos en una sociedad bastante polarizada y no queremos que esto se convierta en un tema partidista. Porque estemos o no estemos de acuerdo con las acciones del presidente Trump, existe una realidad que no podemos ignorar. Y esa realidad es que Nicolás Maduro y su régimen son de lo peor que ha conocido el mundo y merecen lo peor. Nicolás Maduro es responsable de la separación de 9 millones de familias venezolanas. Nicolás Maduro es responsable de tener más de 16.000 presos políticos simplemente por pensar distinto al régimen. Nicolás Maduro es responsable de la desaparición forzosa de cientos de venezolanos por haber asesinado a más de 500 protestantes que han salido durante los últimos años de forma democrática y pacífica a decir que no están de acuerdo con el régimen. Y las personas como Nicolás Maduro no merecen cosas buenas, merecen justicia. Y los venezolanos merecemos una transición pacífica y democrática que la hemos buscado por más de 27 años de distintas formas. Muchas gracias. Now I'm going to introduce my friend Cecilia Gonzalez.
Good morning, everyone. Cecilia Gonzalez Herrera, Gonzalez, Goncalec, Herrera, Herrera. Herrera. Echoing what Samuel on the previous say, it's not only about what's happening this morning or late at night and early this morning, it's what are the days that are going to bring on. We're also talking about a lot of accountability. The government has been able to catch Maduro and his wife, but currently in Venezuela, there is everybody else that is part of this regime. So we still are aiming, the eyes remain, are in terms of accountability, like who are still in power, what does this democratic transition is going to look like, and what is at the best interest of the Venezuelan people. As they have said, we have thousands of political prisoners still in our prisons. We have still a lot of people that have been wrongfully disappeared. So there is that. There is the other sense of like what is really the future of Venezuela that is up to the Venezuelan people to determine. It's not really up to any other force to be determined. Putting the Venezuelan people at their best interest, because there have been over 3 decades of Venezuelan families that some have been listed, being separated, destroyed, and still paying the consequences of what the Chavez and Maduro regime did. To keep this briefly, I'm just going to switch to Spanish. Elevando lo que Samuel y los otros líderes han mencionado, no se trata nada más de lo que está pasando a tempranas horas de hoy y la captura de Maduro y su esposa, es quién más sigue en el poder. Siguen estando todo el resto de miembros de este régimen que siguen perpetuando de forma ilegítima el gobierno en Venezuela. Y lo que tenemos que seguir esperando y poniendo bastante ojo y atención es cómo va a seguir la transición democrática en Venezuela, que solo le corresponde a los venezolanos en Venezuela determinar lo que esa transición democrática deberá ser, teniendo en cuenta que siguen presos una cantidad inmensa de presos políticos. ¿Qué va a suceder con ellos? ¿Qué va a suceder con tantas personas afectadas? Es parte de la conversación y de la narrativa que debemos de seguir teniendo, por no solo perdernos en el se llevaron a Maduro. Ellos han sido responsables de décadas de sufrimiento para las familias venezolanas y es importante que como comunidad internacional sigamos prestando atención a qué va a suceder a los días consiguientes. Básicamente, gracias. Nelson.
Nelson Martinez, I'm part of Casa de Venezuela. I just want to reinforce something. So right now it's a new beginning, and this new beginning means a transition that needs to be pacific. And we hope for a transition that is going to put our elected president, Edmundo González Urrutia, the one that we elected last year. So we are hoping that this new beginning allowed us to have that transition that we deserve, that we fight so hard to get it. En español quiero decirles que nosotros estamos esperando que esta nueva transición sea de forma pacífica y esperamos que nuestro presidente electo, Edmundo González Urrutia, y nuestra líder María Corina sean quienes estén liderando el país de ahora en adelante. Y que se respete, que el régimen entienda que ya este es el final del camino y que es el momento en el que todos los venezolanos merecemos por lo que tanto hemos luchado, que es nuestra libertad.
Gracias a todos por su soporte, por su apoyo como siempre. Y es importante recalcular estos 27 años que hemos vivido en Venezuela y que se han coartado nuestra libertad, nuestro derecho a vivir en nuestro país. Y es lo que yo quisiera que pudiéramos rescatar. Hoy es un día trascendental para nuestro país. Después de 27 años del régimen totalitario, finalmente pareciera que hay una luz en el final del túnel. And we want to send for your support to us. And my message is we got 27 years suffering for this, what happened in Venezuela. Okay, no democracy, no freedom, and today will be a great day. And I hope we can follow what we have to do. My main concern is we need to be all together, Venezuelan and all the communities, international community, to support us and to support what we want to, the democracy and our freedom. Thank you.
Well, now we're ready for any question that any one of you can have, and in English or Spanish, and we will be glad, either one of us, to answer any question.
So I think you kind of alluded to it in the black there, but basically, I know the U.S. said that it will be involved in any transition. What would you like to see as part of a transition that U.S. is involved in? Any regime change?
Okay, first of all, I must say that we might not expect elections. Election we did on July 28th, 2024. So we have a president-elect, and that president-elect need to swear and just take position within the country. Now, what we expect is the next 24 hours, because now Nicolás Maduro is ready to be taken to New York on court. But then there is the figure of a vice president, Delcy Rodriguez. So Delcy Rodriguez should be the person to negotiate with the new government to avoid blood in the streets of Venezuela. So that's what we are expecting right now. And negotiate that some of them that deserve be on jail, be with the devil. We can understand, because remember, this had been a movement of peace. For no reason, Maria Corina Machado was awarded with the Nobel Prize. So we cannot have at this point, looking for conflicts, looking for wars within the country.
Una pregunta, Rafa TV. Acabo de escuchar la conferencia de prensa del presidente Trump y él dijo que ellos van a manejar a Venezuela por un tiempo no determinado. ¿Ustedes están de acuerdo que se manejen personas estadounidenses en conjunto con algunos venezolanos el tiempo que sea necesario?
Yo considero que eso es un apresuramiento por parte del presidente Trump al hacerse la traducción real de sus palabras. Venezuela es y será un país soberano a partir del día de hoy nuevamente, como lo fuimos en el pasado. Ahora, estas personas no entienden otro idioma que el idioma de la fuerza, y por eso el presidente quizás ha señalado eso. Y si de elecciones se va a tratar en Venezuela, va a ser para elegir una legítima Asamblea Nacional, un Congreso bicameral como existe en los Estados Unidos y como existió en el pasado en Venezuela. Any other question?
I just had a question. I know President Trump mentioned some of the resources, oil and things like that. Are you concerned about the status of the oil and the natural resources in Venezuela and any transition that would come about?
The oil in Venezuela belongs to the Venezuelans. That is a raw material that we can negotiate. And we can negotiate with any country that pay a fair price for that oil. Of course, we agree that we need the support of the different organizations that work with the oil market. And of course, Venezuela is not going to be an exception. Now, we are also planning, and I personally have been working in these last 2 weeks in a program which will be to help the rebuild of Venezuela. In what way? Well, in the past, we have in Venezuela what was called Funda Ayacucho. It was the largest scholarship program in the world. Now, we are needing a Funda Ayacucho in reverse, the opposite one, and that will be get all the talent that Venezuela has in different countries, and we will be finding a way to put people in Venezuela with nice salaries, with good homes, and good environment in 6-7 different locations within the country, and help to rebuild Venezuela in terms of technology, health, education, infrastructure, and all those basic prioritized areas that we need to have it within the country. Now we have the talent. What we need is the resources to put people with good salaries and good environment back within the country.
If I can add
Sure.
something related to this point. We have seen over the last few months here in the United States, the current administration go after temporary protected status for Venezuelans. And I think we can all agree here that if this administration believes that Nicolás Maduro is so bad that he needs to be taken out by force, that the Venezuelans here deserve temporary protected status to make sure that they're not being sent back to the level of regime that we have seen over the last 27 years. Venezuelans in the United States are people that have come here to contribute to our economy, that are graduating from our schools here in Central Florida and giving back to our community. And it is very critical in this moment that as the Americans get to know a little bit more about our story and our history, that we get the support so that our families can remain together here in this country of opportunity, of dignity and security. That's what we came to seek, the American dream. And I think that American dream has to be offered to those who had escaped the Maduro dictatorship.
And it's a very good point that Samuel brought, because it's not true that tomorrow or next week, Venezuela will be ready and everybody be sent back. No, not really, because the condition will not change from one night to another. And that's not the real reason why we have all the exile around the world. What happened in Venezuela is a very strong crisis of infrastructure, political, and even in health and education. So we need to create the real environment, and then after a few years, probably, yes, the condition for asylum will be over.
Don William, acaba de salir que la vicepresidenta Delcy Rodríguez ha sido juramentada como presidenta de Venezuela. Trump dice que habló con Marco Rubio y Rodríguez ha aceptado colaborar con los Estados Unidos. Su reacción ante ello.
Ok, yes, la negociación lo anuncié yo hoy a media mañana porque ya veía venir esa figura. Sin embargo, tenía entendido que Delcy Rodríguez estaba en Rusia, quizás ya haya llegado, o recordemos que el presidente Lyndon Johnson, cuando el presidente Kennedy fue asesinado, se juramentó en un avión. Ahora, yo creo que por allí es por donde van a venir los tiros, una negociación con el equipo de transición del presidente Edmundo González Urrutia para de alguna manera encontrar un poco de pasaporte simbólico de salida de muchos traidores que el régimen ha tenido durante todos estos años.
A mí me pareció irónico que Delcy Rodríguez lo primero que dijo es que quería una prueba de vida de Nicolás Maduro, cuando más de 500 presos políticos están en estos momentos y su familia han estado pidiendo por una prueba de vida por el último año y no se la han dado. Eso les demuestra el tipo de régimen con el que estamos lidiando en Venezuela.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Sí.
Vicente, ¿quieres agregar algo?
Quería añadir algo. Para propósitos de identificación, Vicente Pérez, coordinador legal de Casa de Venezuela, supervisor asociado de Aguas y Suelo. En esta oportunidad hablo como venezolano americano y quería un poquito hacer referencia a la última pregunta que hacía el amigo y nuestra Constitución, y lo puedo decir muy claramente, pues soy abogado en Venezuela, dice que, si bien es cierto, ella fue juramentada como presidente, básicamente ella tiene que convocar a elecciones constitucionalmente en 30 días. Allí viene en juego este tema de la transición. Es muy importante lo que Samuel decía anteriormente, porque hay más de 1000 presos políticos en este momento en Venezuela, que sus familiares y personas allegadas necesitan una fe de vida que no ha podido entregarse. No existe persona más segura o personas más seguras en este momento como Maduro y Cilia Flores. En este momento todos sabemos que ellos van a estar protegidos en su integridad física y ellos van a pagar su condena en la Corte de Nueva York y en el Centro de Detención Federal de Nueva York, que así lo establezcan las autoridades pertinentes, hasta el último de sus días. El tema es, ahora hay que darle la oportunidad, lo venía escuchando, por eso un poquito la demora de mi llegada. El presidente Trump dijo que viene una transición que va a tomar tiempo. ¿Cuánto tiempo? No se sabe, pero van a ser semanas, quizás meses. Y ahí quiero empalmar para algo que es muy importante y creo que también lo decía anteriormente Samuel, que es el tema del TPS o algún tipo de alivio migratorio para los venezolanos. Y en ese sentido, si el mismo presidente está reconociendo que la transición solamente se va a dar a través de los Estados Unidos y las autoridades que en el momento determinado haya una transición pacífica hacia la democracia en Venezuela, pues allí vamos a necesitar un alivio para los nuestros que están aquí. Somos gente que vinimos a aportar a este país, somos gente que muchos de los que salieron para elevar su nivel y calidad de vida porque no tenían calidad de vida en Venezuela. Muchos de ellos están dispuestos a volver y definitivamente no lo hacen porque las condiciones no están dadas. El mismo presidente Trump, lo insisto, reconoce que se necesita tiempo para pensar en una transición. Creo que le falta un poco a este gobierno pronunciarse sobre cuál tipo de alivio migratorio nos puede dar, sea un TPS o sea alguna de las medidas que necesitamos los que estamos aquí. Gracias.
Pregunta. Any other question? Okay. Sí. Estamos listos. Gracias. Gracias a todos. Recuerden, por favor, don't forget, without you guys, I mean, we have no room. Okay? Thank you very much. God bless your work. God bless the United States. God bless the new Venezuela that starts today. Thank you.